Everyone, so I did a 1v1 MultiVersus tier list for the Season 1 update. Now I'm going to do one for teams. Just for some context, I am a Tom and Jerry main. I do also play some Batman, a little bit of Wonder Woman. My team's ranking is around 90,000, so just for some context about the players that I typically face. So it's not the lower tier of players, but it's not also the very insane players, so kind of slightly above average, you could say. Just want to give some context because this is going to be based on my personal experience of who I find to be the best and who I find to be the worst. So, unlike the 1v1 list, I think I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. I think God tier, we still have to put Bugs up there. Definitely have to put Tom and Jerry up there. Um, Along with that, we will put Wonder Woman up there. And I think that'll be it for this one. I think we could also put Batman up there, as well as Harley Quinn, maybe. I think Harley Quinn we might drop to S tier. I think she's a little bit better for 1v1s. So I think that's going to be the God tier. Now, some reasoning. I still think Bugs is the best player in the game, the best character in the game. Velma was my god in my God tier spot before, but she gets some pretty big nerfs, so I don't see her being played as much anymore, which is kind of nice because she was very annoying to play against. I still think she's strong, but I think she's been bumped down from the God tier to the S tier. So I think Bugs is now the best for teams and for 1v1s. They did add some whip recovery to him, but all around, I still see him being played almost every other game, to be honest. And he's annoying to play against. He has a lot of different utility. He can toss at you, and he can knock you out very quickly because of how quick he moves, and his up special just does so much damage to you. So not his up special, his up normal, which is like his bat, and then he also has the hammer to spike you down with. You can have some insane combos. He has the spin move still. So I think all around he's still a god tier character, and I think he's easily the best. I think Tom and Jerry is probably in second, maybe third. I think Wonder Woman, Tom and Jerry are fairly interchangeable. I think Tom and Jerry probably one of the harder characters to play in the game, but just has so many different combos, so many projectiles you could toss at them. Can do so much damage every game. Just tossing his dynamite, tossing Jerry, tossing his rockets, tossing his tennis balls. Can be very, very oppressive in that way. So every game you'll be looking at dealing 300, 400 damage because of how insane he is. Also, his pan spike is just probably the best in the game, honestly. The most satisfying to use as well. Plus, you got to give him bonus points for the death scream, which always puts a smile on my face. Wonder Woman, I think there could be an argument to put her above. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it like this for now. I think Wonder Woman is all around the best tank by far, but also probably one of the must-have characters for teams. I think the best combination is probably the Void and the Cat, which is the Tom and Jerry Wonder Woman or Wonder Woman Bugs. I think those are probably the two best combinations. I think Wonder Woman should be considered one of the must-play characters. It just makes your team game so much easier because she can shield herself and her teammate. Her attacks are insane. They're very fast. They have a lot of range. All around, she's just very well balanced. She has a nice spike, a nice little kick in the air she does for her up. And I think she's just solid all around. If you're looking for a character to start playing, I think Wonder Woman is probably the best choice. I think she's listed as one of the recommended characters too, but I'm not too sure about that. I know Shaggy is. Next up, Batman. I think just like in 1v1s, I think Batman is just solid all around no matter really what you put on him. I think both his perks are very useful. I think his bounce rank's probably slightly better, just because he applies those max weakness stacks, which is insane. So Batman could just dish out so much damage. He has a little bit of light. That's really his only weakness, which doesn't really make sense because Batman's like 1,000 pounds or something in the comics, but of just pure muscle. But in this game, he's very light and able to be knocked out fairly quickly if you're not careful. And at the same time, there's still some cases where the grapple just sends you off the map. But besides that, he has just an amazing kit. Everything is useful. His battering is like kind of infinite Tom and Jerry slingshots, because it just keeps recharging in like a second if you pick it up. So I think Batman is a very solid pick as well. Harley Quinn could be put in the god tier. I think she's better in 1v1s when she's just focused on one character. I think her plays are a little bit harder to do in teams, but again, very solid, very annoying to play against too. Could toss her bombs around, could put her little balloons down with the jack in the box, and so she's kind of in between. She's on the cusp of both of these, so I'm gonna keep her in S tier for now. But again, she could be easily moved up. Next up, we'll put Shaggy in. I think Shaggy is solid in teams just like he is in 1v1s. It's a little bit easier to play him in teams, so um, that reason I think he's better in teams than in 1v1s, just because it's easier to charge up. And this charge up is very insane because it charges up his teammate too, or like enrages them, and that applies weakness stacks. His kick is still very oppressive, so I think Shaggy is definitely deserving of an S tier ranking. Next up in S tier, we'll put Superman in. I think Superman is also a great character, and I think he's easier to play in teams, kind of like Shaggy, because there's a little bit more chaos. He can pick up people really for the same reason as I put him in S tier. In 1v1s, I think he's all around a solid character. His one weakness is that he's very slow, but on the other side, he is a tank, so it kind of makes sense. He's not as quick as Wonder Woman. Um, but he does have other abilities. I think he's the best for ringing people out very early with high health. He could just kind of yoink you and pick you up and toss you into the death barrier. So I think S tier, again, I've seen some very good Superman and some very bad Superman, but at the highest level, he's just an amazing character. So I think an S tier ranking is very fair for him. And actually, before I forget, we're going to put Velma in the top of the S tier still. Surely, yeah, we'll put her in front of Harley, I think. She did get nerfed. As I said before, I think she was undisputably the best teams character, but now don't see her that much in teams, and I played a fair amount of teams since the Season 1 update came out. I still think she's very strong, just not as strong as before, so I think S tier is fine for her. We're also going to put Rain Dog in S tier. Rain Dog, his projectile span is unbelievable, but I think just his tethering is such a strong ability, and I think it's so useful for teams, so we'll keep him in the S tier. We're also going to put Finn in the S tier. I think Finn, again, got nerfed a little bit. I think he was probably in the God tier before, but he still has his spin move. He still has his sword with crazy range, and he has fast attack speed. So I think, without a doubt, he belongs in the S tier. Actually, put him a little bit higher. I think Rain Dog deserves to be a little bit higher, to be honest, because Rain Dog is insane in the right hands. I'm also going to put Arya in the S tier. I think she's easier to play in teams as she's in 1v1s as well. She could do some insane plays, but again, I have seen some people just teleport off the map with her, so you do have to be a little bit careful. But I think if she gets you up in the air, she could take you out so quickly. She does so much damage very fast, in the right hands, of course, so she'll be put in the S tier for now. Now, for these last three tiers, there's not going to be too many characters here. As you can see, most of them got put in the God and in the S tier. So a lot of this is going to look very similar to what it was before. We're going to put Steven Universe in the A tier. I think you could do some insane combos, and I've seen some insane combos with his shields and with his teammate. They could kind of just bash you into a shield. There's some very nice like kind of set plays that I've seen Steven Universe players do with their teammates, and they could take you from 0 to 100 in like a second by just bouncing you back and forth against their shield. So for that reason, we'll put him in the A tier. Again, he's kind of hard to play, so I think A tier is very fair for him. We're going to put Jake in the A tier as well. I don't know. Jake is alright. He's somewhat annoying to play against, especially as a Tom and Jerry main. But I don't find him being played as much after this update. He had some small changes to him, really, but they kind of made him a little bit less oppressive. So I think A tier is fair for him. Also going to put Garnet in here. I think Garnet is very good in teams. Much better than she is in 1v1. So I think an A tier ranking is fair for her as well. Again, she has that little ground pound that does a lot of damage, so if you don't pay too much attention, she could do a lot of damage to you. But I don't think she's as good as any of the characters above her. These last three, I'm not actually sure how to rank. I know Taz is definitely still a C tier character. I don't see him played pretty much at all in teams. And I've tried him a couple of times and he's just not very good. So I think C tier is where he belongs. Now these last two could go either way here. I think, honestly, we could put both of them in the A tier. I think... Wow, I don't think anyone belongs in the B tier, really. I think there's just such a large gap between Taz and the rest, at least at the moment. I think Iron Giant is much better in teams. I think there could be an argument to put him in S tier, but I think A tier is fair for the Iron Giant, so we're going to keep him there. He's still very bulky and tanky. I think a lot of it depends on the map. So if you get Trophy's Edge 2 or one of the smaller maps, Scooby's Mansion even, that's kind of a very short map, I think he's much better on those maps than he is on some other maps where teams can kind of get around him very easily. But I do think for the reason that he's better than he is in 1v1s by quite a bit, I'm going to put him all the way up in the A tier. Same with LeBron, I think he's better in teams. for the sake that you could do passes, which kind of activates some of his perks, which you can't do in 1v1s, but also just easier to get some of his moves off because he's very easy to focus in 1v1s, which kind of makes him bad. So I think this is my tier list for 2v2 team games. Let me know what you guys think. If you disagree with anything, if you agree, let me know in the comments. Let me know what your tier list would be, but this would be mine. Thank you guys for watching.